Awesome. And we're live.
Yes.
Welcome, Saurabh. I think you hosted the previous session as well, but excited to host this one with you.
Super pumped to do this one. Let's get started.
Awesome. And Saurabh, since both of us have spent quite a few nights planning this out together, um, just wanted to jam with you on how your experience has been so far.
Absolutely loving it, Suhas. I'm loving the pace of how we are going. This week and the few days next week are going to be a little more hands-on. Initial couple of sessions were a little more theory plus screen share plus live demos, but it's only gonna get intense from here, right? So
Yeah,
I'm personally excited. I'm loving the josh of folks who are sharing what they are building in Slack. So yeah.
agreed. Agreed. And some very interesting projects that have come out already, right? Like people, I think the power of vibe coding is that in under a week, people are able to go from ideation to shipping a product and then submitting. I think so that's super, super powerful and also pretty interesting projects. I thought maybe, many people trying it out for the first time, pretty simple projects, but seems like you can go a long way, especially with the credits, etc. in the system. So yeah, pretty excited to see. And for everyone joining in, hope you've been going super hands on, and we're almost halfway through the buildathon. So I hope everyone's gone from idea to at least playing around with some of these tools and getting to first versions of your product. And now in the second half, you can of course spend some time on polishing out what you've built. Right. So we'll very quickly over the next 2-3 minutes walk you through some of the kickoff slides and then welcome our speaker on stage. What is very interesting about today's session is that most of y'all have been spending some time coding out your stuff, whether actually coding or vibe coding your projects. But today's session, we will learn about the evolution of software and why it is so powerful, especially in the last 2 years, right? And how it's accelerated in the last 2 years, and especially for PMs and for builders, I think what is possible in today's world is almost automated code reviews, right? AI assisted code reviews, which just makes it so much. Um, it just speeds up your entire process. So we'll see a very interesting demo in action. And in under 2-3 minutes, I will invite the speaker upstage. But sort of maybe very quickly, let's walk them through some of the slides and some shoutouts.
Yes.
Awesome. Huge shout out to some of the partners that you guys have got a chance to, use their products, etc. And many of you all have been sharing some feedback with us on Slack as well. So thank you for that, and keep that coming. If you all need anything else from our side, I think many of you all wanted to try out Rocket, for example. We went back to the team, got your special code, etc. So we're trying our best, but you already have access to some of these. Please go give it a try. Um, Tell us what you think about these products, and hoping they are helping you build much better MVPs of your ideas.
Yes.
We've already, like I shared, we've already covered maybe halfway through our workshops. So a couple of more interesting hands-on sessions in the pipeline. Um, I hope everyone's been enjoying this journey. And yes, in today's session, I think definitely stay tuned. If you'll have more questions, drop it on the chat section. Sarab and we will curate some of the best and ask Rohit towards the end.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Saurabh, do you want to maybe come in and share a little bit about, how people can start getting onboarded onto this platform and get
Yes.
their credits, etc.
Done, done. I think by now a lot of them already know the drill. Folks, please make sure that you have registered on Devfolio for Mosaic. That is the only way you're gonna win credits, cash, and gadgets. Right? We have 4 tracks. We have winners for every track, and we also have 3 winners overall for the entire hackathon. And the only way for you to submit your projects, build teams, and share your learnings is through Devfolio. So please make sure that you have registered on Devfolio, and that is also the way you will get the credits For Windsurf, you'll get the credits for 11 labs, and you will also get the coupon codes for Rocket and other AI tools that we are gonna share with you. Right? I would just give you a quick 2 minute summary, folks. We do have 4 tracks. You can submit your projects for any one of these tracks, or your project can be built across all of the 4 tracks. Right? Voice AI, anything voice conversational goes with voice AI. Anything vibe coding goes under vibe coding. If you're automating your daily workflows, please build it under the AI agents and workflow automation tracks. And finally, evals, very niche, but if you are looking to get your next AI builder role, evals is definitely something that people are gonna test you on, right? So this was a quick intro into the 4 tracks we have. I think we do have already a lot of folks building on a lot of submissions also, which we can see on which the reviewers and judges are able to see on Buildathon. So if you haven't submitted, if you are in the process of submitting, please be aware about the dates and make sure you submit on time. Uh, if you please feel free to share what problem statements you're working on here on the chat. But in the paucity of time, I think we'll move a little forward. There is always the Slack discussion forum where everyone is coming together, jamming, brainstorming, sharing ideas, and helping each other out, right? So please make sure you are already connected with the Mosaic community on our Slack channel, registered on DevFolio, been through the pre-reads. I'm seeing a lot of people who are not going to the pre-reads. So please make sure, folks, that you go to the pre-reads. The pre-reads are available in the Notion link, which is already being shared in the chat right now, and you must have already received it in your emails, right? So please make sure you're going to the pre-reads. Notion is one-stop place where you get updates about everything and anything that is happening in the session, right? And finally, yes, watch out for the invites and links. Please stay on top of this. A few more sessions to go before we have the submissions on. With this, I would want to welcome Rohit. Um, Thanks a lot, Rohit, for giving us your time and doing this for us. Rohit is one of Rohit has been a co-founder previously, has a lot of founding stints done in the past, and I would love to welcome Rohit on stage and give us a quick intro. Yes.
Yeah, we'll just bring him on stage. And yes. Hey, Rohit, welcome to Mosaic 25.
Hey, Suhas. Thank you. Hey, Saurabh. How's it going?
Hey, hi, Rohit.
Awesome. I know you were up till pretty late last night and it's pretty early for you. So, really appreciate you making the time. And very excited about the session, mostly because, um, I really want to know um, the power of some of what we can do with AI in today's world. I think that is something I'm very excited to go deeper into. Um, and second, yeah, looking forward to seeing CodeRabbit in action, right? So I think these are two things that I'm personally looking forward to. And just adding into Saurabh's intro, folks, I've known Rohit for a while, and he is definitely one of the best engineering leaders you'll find in our country, working at the forefront of AI, right? So if any of you all haven't followed his journey already, definitely check out his LinkedIn. He's not as active on Twitter and LinkedIn. Work is keeping him busy, I'm guessing, but hopefully you'll see more from his side in the coming days. And with that, Rohit, we'll probably hand this over to you. Again, really excited to hear what's coming in the next five minutes.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for that intro. Like Suhas said, we've known each other actually for a long time. Been following his journey closely as well. He's one of a very interesting person to come out of India, and now the world is seeing what he can do. About an associated product folks from the very early times. I remember when I started my first company, we got in touch. So yeah, it's been amazing what you guys have been able to achieve, and very excited to be here on stage today.
Thanks so much.
All right. So today I'm basically going to talk a bit about my journey, and then get into AI as well, right? And how it has evolved over time and how witnessed the change actually happened in front of my eyes. And towards the end, we can talk about a bit about CodeRabbit and code reviews and what we're up to, but I'll focus more a bit on just the journey of AI and how my journey has been around that. So with that, let's get into it. So I can do a quick intro on me and my background. So overall, I have 15 years of experience. Grew up in Pune, did my early education there. And After that, I was in the US. I did my undergrad in computer science at Purdue University, worked in the US for a bit, then moved back home. I was kind of excited about things that were being built back home. This was, 2010. I don't know any of you remember Burp was a company that was around at that time, which was a hot startup in Bombay. So came back to join that, and then did a lot of startups. Joined CleverTap very early. I was employee number three there. I saw that company grow from zero to close to 100 million revenue, which it is today. Spent a lot of time there. Joined as a founding engineer. I'll get a bit into that. And at the heart of it, I just love building products. So that's all I've done pretty much in my career. And the CleverTap experience kind of inspired me to start up myself. So I've done two startups. One was in the fitness space. Both didn't work out, unfortunately. Second one was in AI. This was early 2021, just before Gen AI. This was actually the old machine learning AI that people don't talk about as much now. Um, but yeah, was the co-founder at Topline. Did that for 2.5 years. Got to 1 million in revenue. Very very interesting journey. And then now, at CodeRabbit, I'm the VP of engineering here. So setting up their India site, actually taking care of a EPD pod, building products. It's been a roller coaster. 10 months. It's just been incredible. Company's growing extremely fast. The traction, the user love is just through the roof. And we're building out of Bangalore. So we're co-located across Bangalore and SF. So yeah, if anyone's ever interested in doing some very, very interesting deep tech work, applied AI, do reach out. Um, so yeah, let's get into it. I don't know if how many of you have ever encountered a screen of death in Windows. Is anyone in chat or anyone can say that? Do they remember this?
Of
I just wanted to
course.
understand the audience as well.
Yeah. Let me see the chat. Suicide, yes, a lot recently. Yes, yes.
Nice.
Nostalgia. Yeah, a lot of people.
It is nostalgia, right? Like I remember, like just to get into it, like my early days, growing up in India, we that's when I really got exposed to computers, right? And I just fell in love with the technology and what it could do. Um, Initially, of course, just started with gaming. I remember we used to have a computer lab. We used to play Dave and Doom, and then Prince of Persia came out, and I was just fascinated. I just fell in love with this thing. I convinced my parents to buy me one. This was, I think, early late 90s. I was able to convince my parents to buy me an actual computer at home. It was a privilege back then. Uh, but yeah, that's how we got early exposed to this technology. I remember we learned commands like CD and LS in computer labs. That's what we used to do. And it's like half an hour for like you can game. So very, very interesting times when we got exposed to this technology. And After that is sorry, I was here. Yeah, and that time there used to be floppy disk. Again, I don't know how many of you ever used a floppy disk. But at that time, that 1.44 MB was a lot, and it was everything. It was about optimizing. Hey, how much can you fit in a floppy disk? Uh, it's just insane how you look at how technology has evolved, right? From floppy, like if I we don't even talk about CDs anymore, forget floppy disks, but we kind of saw all of this, right? Like it was just incredible to witness how quickly this technology was changing. And I remember, since very few people were hands-on with this stuff with computers, we used to, be the tech support before tech support was invented, right? Like I remember. And that's why the blue screen. I remember I used to be an expert in reviving machines when they break down, formatting Windows, getting into the BIOS, reinstalling Windows, helping people hide files almost, and it was just an incredible time to like I used to burn CDs. I remember we used to take a lot of pride. Napster came, we used to download like thousands of songs and burn CDs, and we used to have these CD collections. I remember at one time I had like a whole case of like 50 CDs, and I had downloaded every song you can think of from Linkin Park, everything, and then I had them alphabetically sorted in these CDs. Like we had like these albums of 50 CDs. Like this is A to C, then there is C to whatever F, and it was just incredible. And I haven't used a CD in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm
and
wondering,
mm,
Rohit, the younger folks in this chat probably won't even be able to relate, but I'm just thinking this is only a couple of years back, right? It's not that far out also, it's just in our childhood also. So
yeah,
I'm just, yeah, technology is evolving so fast here.
correct, correct, exactly right. Like I also can't believe how things have changed so fast. Like when I look back, it's just incredible the things we were doing. It just seems like it was decades ago. I mean, it was decades ago. It feels like centuries ago how the technology was.
Yeah.
Um, and I think 2000s to 2010 is when I got really deep into this stuff, right? Like it got a lot more popular. I finally found what I love. I was a very confused kid. I was not a good student. Did not study at all. Had really bad grades till my ninth standard. Like there used to be single digit numbers like 0.3 on 30, 0.6. Like my parents were really didn't know what to do with me, right? I was a rebel child, just on the computer 24/7, and I just couldn't figure what to do. I didn't want to do engineering, like the traditional engineering. Didn't want to do go into medicine either or be a doctor. Didn't want to go in the forces. So it was just a very confusing time. I actually tried. So after my 10th, actually, I did 12th science. I tried arts and I did commerce. I did all three of them in a span of 3 years just to find what I like. And it turns out after that, I just committed to computers because that's the only thing I liked at that point in life. Like all I was to do is on my machine all the time. Got exposed to programming, just fell in love with it, right? Because it was so logical. I used to love chess, playing chess growing up. I used to love playing Sudoku. So it just felt something I could relate to, that, it was so deterministic. Like, yeah, A plus B, you programming it actually works, right? Um, so kind of basically committed all in to computers, and got lucky, was very fortunate to get into grade school. I was at Purdue in the US, um, from 2005 to 2009, did a bachelor's in computer science. And Purdue was known for its computer science program, very systems engineering focused. Learned the basics there. I remember first class was, we learned basics of Java. Then we got into assembly programming. We wrote our own compilers. The OS class was very interesting. We wrote our own shell. We wrote our own malloc, which is the memory management library. Uh, so really deep fundamentals, and I was just having the time of my life. I remember in the networking class, we built our own Skype as well. So yeah, very, very fascinating times. And again, I was able to get closer to this technology, understand it, and go really deep. Uh, Anything on this, was others I can move on as well.
Yeah, I think the first question that came to my mind is um, a lot of the, I mean, where does the shift in computer science for the younger folks come in, right? Like, I think, is there a world where, some topics become a lot more important for you in an AI generated code world, or would the skills still remain the same, but maybe
Yeah.
you need to augment this with something else?
Yeah. No, the way I'm seeing it is, I think there will core engineering will always remain, the fundamentals remain. You still need to understand the basics. But I feel this is going to create another maybe 10 million developers, right? Or a huge amount of developers that, like, for example, if you look at technology, how it evolved, we got websites, right? There were a lot of people who did not have to do a fundamental CS degree to go and build websites, right?
Yeah.
Other technologies came that made it very easy for you to build a website, like Wix, and there's so many platforms out there that just click, click, and drag, and you could build a website, right? This really is that new unlock in that technology where it's become exponentially easier to build things. So this is going to create the next set of developers, but I think you'll still have maybe some folks working on mainframe, or you still have some folks doing traditional software development. Like all these companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, they're all saying AI is going to replace engineers, but they're hiring more engineers than ever, right? So somebody has to still build that stuff. Somebody has to think about scale and how do these platforms scale. So all of that, I think those job, I mean, I still feel the fundamentals and the core of engineering would remain, and that would always be valued. But I think this is just going to create a new class of developers that are just going to build amazing products. And of course, for everyone across the stack, right? Like for example, today we still have mainframe developers and stuff, people writing in Java and C and so on and so forth, right? So that'll still continue. But yes, everyone will use AI, leverage AI. It's a co-pilot, it's an assistant. It's going to write maybe all of the code even, right? But the idea is you still need a human to guide it, to make those micro decisions, to scale it. Because at the end of the day, then after that, what it boils down to is just taste and how you want to build something, how you want to architect something. And that's where I feel humans are still really required to make those decisions.
Got it. Got it. Do you think because of the new AI assisted workflow, you'll see a lot more people getting into this? Because maybe the barrier to entry is getting
Yes.
easier, but at some point, human in the loop is going to be at more strategic levels slash slightly deeper reasoning levels is where,
Yeah.
that's a skill set I think a lot more people need to start honing from the early days, right?
Yeah, because once you want to take it to production, you want to scale it. Like for
Yeah,
example, you want to scale something Netflix. Can you like really vibe code that? No, you really need to now deeply understand fundamentals of computer science,
interesting.
right? So I think that stuff will still remain, but yeah, it's become easier to ship a quick MVP app,
Got it.
and that's what we're seeing at this point. Is everyone's just right now got access to this technology, and everyone's just having a mind blowing time, including
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
But we'll see how the when the dust settles.
yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
And then talking about actually the most pivotal part of my career, moved back to India, worked at a bunch of companies. It was only at 2014 when I got the opportunity that kind of changed my career. Got an opportunity to join CleverTap. It was very early. Employee number three. Joined there as a founding engineer. I don't know many folks ever. Anand Jain, like he was the founder. I'd worked with him earlier, and that's why when he was starting CleverTap, he reached out. Like one thing how I look at career switches is, and how like one thing I would like to share on is like when you join something or whenever you're looking at your career move, think of it that everything else you've ever done looks like a footnote, right? And that's what this kind of journey did to me, right? Like 6 years at CleverTap, saw that company when I joined, it was like zero customers, zero revenue. It was just incredible what we were able to achieve in those 6 years. I joined as a senior engineer, grew all the way to VP engineering, built great technology there. We wrote our own database at that time. At that time, there weren't many commercially available time series databases. Again, technology has evolved a lot in the database side in the last 6 years. At that time, and also running an analytics company at scale, India was coming online. You had all these apps like Zomato, Hotstar, ClearTrip, all the Geo apps, MPL, all these high volume apps were all using CleverTap, and all of this data was flowing into our systems. And CleverTap, essentially what it does is marketing automation software. So imagine you have a mobile app, you want to reach out to them through push notifications or set up campaigns, such as if somebody added to cart, doesn't check out, you want to send them a 5% coupon code or an offer or an email. So that was very, very interesting. And I remember the most interesting days initially were when Book My Show, when they would launch a Salman Khan movie. We used to get so much traffic that it would just bring our systems down. And I remember spending like we used to be up like 5 a.m. just trying to deal with that traffic, ingest it, because it had to be real time in nature. And then the scale just kept increasing, right? And then came IPL.
Yes.
Every IPL used to be an interesting event for us the first year. But it got to a point where we all could also enjoy the IPL. But I remember the first time it was such a hard time for all of us because we had data coming in from all of these apps into us. I remember concurrency was like 5 million, processing billions of events. And that image that I put there, um, I'll explain that, right? So what we used to do in the early days was, so we had Redis we used to use as a queue for these events, and those queues would all fill up very quickly, right? So each of them was machines, and we were running out of these buckets, and we used to be like, oh, we need like five more buckets to store this water that's coming in, all this traffic. So it's like you put on a new bucket at the tap where the data is coming in and take the previous bucket and get it to process. Uh, so that really is that image, but it was very, very interesting times for all of us, I think. And those bonds we built during building that technology, the very close friends still, pretty much nobody left for like 4 years. I think like not a person left that company because it was just such an exciting time to build. Yeah. So, Suhas, anything on this? Because I can continue next slide. Yeah.
Yeah, I think on the scale bits, I have a couple of questions, but I'll probably take it towards, the AMA
Yeah.
side. I think, just going slightly deeper so that once we see the workflow happen.
Yeah. And this is actually where some amount of machine learning, the traditional one, was being used even at CleverTap. We used to do RFM analysis, try to predict, try to figure out what the next person might do, and so on and so forth. So the world was starting to tap into this technology, and it was useful to some extent to build certain workflows, uh, which is not at the extent we could do in the later years, right? And then after that, like I said, so that CleverTap journey excited me. It gave me such an exposure that I just couldn't help myself and start up. Did two startups. Unfortunately, both didn't work out. One was in the fitness space. So forgot to actually tell you guys in my intro. On the side, I also have done the Ironman. So I love fitness. Cycling is my first love. So swim, bike, run is what I like to do. Also hiking, cricket, like you name it, all sports. I'm into it. So did a fitness startup in Bangalore for a year. But after that, the main thing that I did also in 2021 was Topline, which was a B2B SaaS company. Again, this is where we started dabbling into AI in a big way. And we again witnessed like the Gen AI thing come in. But essentially, what we were doing was help our customers find sales pipeline in their freemium user base, right? So imagine you are a Notion, a Canva, Dropbox, you have millions of free users. We could help you figure out there is a Google in there, there are 10 people from Google using it. This is what the usage is. The data suggests that they're going to actually convert, right? So we actually were using machine learning. So there were two pieces to this, right? The real hard part actually was to ingest again all of this data, transform it. We built a ETL pipeline around Airflow, Snowflake. We built a great stack there. A little more conscious decision by this point was to buy versus building, because at this point there's a lot of technology available. You don't have to build the primitives. You could abstract and build a lot of technology on top. And the core IP here that we built was we could combine data sources from across different tools. So I could combine Mixpanel with Salesforce with some other marketing tool and give you 360 view of a customer and also an organization. So you could say you want to see organizations that have, let's say, been your customer for 3 months, and you can actually see that data across all of these tools, and you get a 360 view. It's all stitched. So that was really powerful. And then once you have this data, then you can run machine learning models to run predictions. So we were actually doing predictive AI using machine learning models. So you could come to our tool and say, hey, I want to know who is going to churn in the next 2 weeks, or who's going to convert. And that really was the use case we were helping these customers with, helping them figure out between all of their user base, which is that top 1% or top 0.1% that's going to buy your product, and then send those leads into Salesforce, so that the people could go up, the sales people could use those leads to sell. And the other thing, what happened at this point was Gen AI came in. This is when this technology was launched. And we had some use cases where we actually explored it, started using it. And the use case was people wanted to know, for example, I have these 100 list of accounts I want to sell to, right? So let's say my ICPs, engineering leaders. So now I want to find out all the VP engineers in these top 100 companies. So we actually use Gen AI to scrape the internet, figure out who these leaders are, and run a complete enrichment product that we built. And to the level that you could get their email addresses, and then we had tie-ups with other products that you could use to get their phone numbers even, and again send those leads into Salesforce. So yeah, that was again I got to witness that shift early in 2021. Use Gen AI and explore those capabilities. Swas, anything?
Yeah, I think here one of the questions is on what really changed in the early days when Gen AI was introduced, right? You were probably doing a little bit of machine learning in AI already. I think the question is here around um, what real use cases were not possible before generative AI, especially maybe in your use case or some other examples that you've seen.
Yeah, no, it was so good at just uh, it just understood context, right? Like LLMs were able to understand intent. So, for example, we had a lot of use cases around classification. For example, we used to example scrape this data, right? Now we wanted to make sure we are structuring this data. So, for example, I have scraped engineering leaders, but everyone's title is different. Some guy might be SVP, some guy's product marketer, there's a marketer, there's a marketing manager, there's all kinds of titles. Now, how do you normalize that? Perfect use case for AI. We would say that, hey, apply your best judgment, but we don't want so many random titles. Can you figure out the department based on marketing manager, product marketing manager sits in product? So it was smart enough to figure these things out, right? Or even when you're scraping, it was smart enough to figure out a lot of things that enabled these use cases for us. Even when it came to the message, right? So we would help our salespeople reach out, again generating that message based on the person's history. So the guy has performed certain actions in your application, and you could create a personalized message based on that behavior. So we would give it the context that, Suhas says, let's say he's on your pro plan, he's bought these products. Now you're trying to reach out to upgrade him. So what's the best message? Like, it's basically personalization at scale, right? It's 1:1 personalization. You could actually come with a custom message for each person. And these are some of the use cases that GenAI was unlocking for us.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And if you were to break like the 2020 to present, if you can break that into first half and second half, right?
Yeah,
Like November 2022 is where the GPT moment happened, the chat GPT moment happened rather. Um, and early days, I still maybe remember playing around with GPT-3 versus now in between the 3, 3 point,
yeah,
like a lot of versions of 3, 4, and now at GPT-5, right? Um, can you walk us through, just your experience, uh, early days versus now, how
yeah,
powerful it's become, and, where do
yeah.
you foresee this going? It's just been 2 years, 2.5 years.
Correct.
So I'd say still pretty early days. Um,
Yeah, yeah. No, the technology's changed so fast, right? Like I said, so early days, these were some of the use cases, right? But they're nowhere close to the use cases we're solving today, right? So the technology has moved a long way. Earlier, it used to hallucinate a lot. You really couldn't use it for a lot of use cases. It wasn't that usable. The models weren't that good. But and we used to work with a lot of Gen AI companies, by the way, top line. A lot of our customers were AI companies. And
okay.
we were seeing this trend firsthand. Like, we were witnessing this in front of us. We had customers like Murph and so many of them, and we were seeing all these Gen AI cases, use cases come about, and we got a ringside view. And I understood at that time that these companies are going to be the companies that, I mean, this is the only companies that are going to exist, and pretty much every workflow is going to be rewritten with AI, right? And earlier, you just couldn't do the use cases that you can do today. For example, even vibe coding wasn't possible in 2021, right? You needed the models to get better and be able to reason. Reasoning was such a huge unlock that happened. And even products like CodeRabbit, right? We get better as the reasoning gets better. So what we're essentially doing is AI code reviews, but it's highly dependent on the reasoning. So, for example, if you tried launching CodeRabbit in 2021, it probably won't work, right? But today, given how capable the models are, it actually has started doing a better job. And we actually have these evals and test beds and benchmarks, and we're internal benchmarks, and we're noticing every time a new model is launched, and as these models get better, it's able to catch more sophisticated bugs, is able to fix more sophisticated issues. So we're actually seeing that again. Like, I can quantify for you. I have examples I've seen. Like, earlier, it was not able to catch this bug,
Yeah.
but here now it can, right? So these kind of companies would not even exist. But that's why the timing of CodeRabbit, right, came out just at the right time when these models were getting better.
Yeah. I think that's a great point to maybe segue into the next bit, which
Yeah,
is on, slightly more into the product side of things, wherein, I know you played the hat of, both on the tech side in your formative years, and then now, lots on the product side as well. Um, when a PM is now setting roadmaps, how should they plan for the underlying model itself getting a lot better, right? Like exactly this use case, for example, I might have used GPT-3, thought, okay, hey, these are some interesting things that we could do. And then underlying model itself gets so much better that, a lot of time and effort that spent in, optimizing. I would have spent 6 to 9 months optimizing prompt, which in the next version or the next update from a foundational model could solve it in a much better way than me spending time. So is that just wanted your thoughts on how product managers can set the roadmaps a lot better?
yeah. No, that's an interesting question. It is the challenge, right? You have to also know, you kind of have to know what models will get better at and what they won't, right? Like, and then build around that. For example, we knew that reasoning is just going to get better from here, so it doesn't make sense for us to, for example, you know fine tune or write our own model, right? We knew that model companies are going to be iterating on models and shipping best in class models, and they're going to iterate on that. And we're better off iterating on the workflow, getting more sticky, getting more retention, getting people to love our product, going deeper into their workflows, right? So we believe that even though, let's say, there were 10 bugs, right, and we were able to catch, let's say, 5 of them, we're like, let's focus, but how do we make sure the experience around them is really good versus trying to figure out, hey, how do we now hack this technology and go deeper to solve that sixth bug that it's not catching today? We were confident that as this technology evolves, those bugs will also being start getting caught, right? So I think it's just figuring out what the core IP of your product is, what actually you're selling, and knowing what the model does versus what you do. Because, like I said, right, like we depend on these model companies for their reasoning, but we know we don't depend on them for the core workflows or for understanding the user experience, right? That is not getting better because the model got better. So the focus is actually shifting from, there's so many dev tools out there right now. There's a new code gen tool every day. Uh, what's making you pick one over the other, right? So it is going to come down to experience over time because everyone will figure out the tech, right? The tech will keep getting better, of course, but I think experience is what people are going to stay for. And that's why actually the PM job is becoming more important. I feel like it's a little counterintuitive what people are. There's been some narrative that, yeah, we don't need PMs anymore. We can just wipe code everything. I hard disagree. You can build a good MVP, but you want to take something to production that's used by millions of users, you need a lot of PMs. Because, or the engineers play that role, right? So whatever you want to call that person, a product manager, program manager, whether the CEO does it, CTO does it, doesn't matter, but somebody has to figure out what is to be built, how is it going to be built, what the experience is like, what is the value for the customer, what are the workflows, right? Those jobs you can't take away. Now, I don't care who does the job, right? An engineer wants to understand and has great taste, can build an end-to-end product experience. Great for him. He's a great hire. He's a 10x person. But I don't think that work is going away anytime soon. And like I was saying, I'd say that again, that taste and product experience and workflows are going to matter more because AI is going to become commodity, right? Everyone has the same model. So why should someone use you over something else? And that's why I feel again like the experience of these products is going to matter a lot.
100% agree there, Rohit. I think exactly the same thing. And I think history has an answer for us. If you see the early PM roles or how product management came to be, was exactly this, right? They were a carve out which essentially spent time on figuring out what is it the users or your customers or your potential user, what do they exactly need and how can we build better for them, right? So I think that doesn't change. And the pandemic had an influx where every single role became a product manager role. And I think maybe
Yeah.
now we're getting a little bit more sanity into that ecosystem, right? So completely agree on
Mhm.
that bit. I'll probably let you continue the slides, and we have a couple of more
Yeah.
questions that we'll take up as we go.
Yeah, and I think recently there's a lot of FUD ki, oh, like I'm saying, right? Because vibe coding came, I was like, we don't need PMs. I mean, I was like starting to feel bad for aspiring PMs, right? Because it's so discouraging when all you hear on Twitter everywhere is we don't need PMs. Like shit,
True,
man. That's what I do for a living. So
true.
I feel, and I think the narrative is changing now, right? Andrew NG, and now a bunch of people are saying, hey, we need PMs because guess what? If you can build code really fast, and so can everyone else, guess where the new bottleneck is? It's about what to build, right? It's
Exactly,
not how to build. It's about
exactly.
what is that product experience. Do you have good taste, right? And that's really why like a Cloud Code or these products have won, is just because it's also great product experience.
Agree.
And I think that's going to be a differentiator in the coming times because the moats are, reducing, right? Because earlier even technology used to be a moat, like how fast can you build? It always still will be, but that those curves are coming down,
Yeah,
right? People will just, and the other thing I feel people are worried is our jobs are going to go away. I don't know if I'll have a job, like even engineers, right? But I feel we'll just do more with this technology, right? Like when email came out, we just didn't think that, I'll send an email once because I mean, think of your life before email. You maybe called someone across the world once a week and discussed with them or spoke about something, right? But once we got email and internet, you are sending good morning in the morning and sending another 100 random messages that you didn't thought think of, right? So it just unlocks more use cases, and I think the same thing will happen here. I feel I think we'll just do more. Like every company now then wants to, build 10 more things. And that's really then the new normal. We'll have more multi-product companies.
yeah,
There's so much we can do more with technology, right? Like technology, still, if you ask me in this world and how humans interface with technology, we're still very very nascent. I mean, soon technology embedded in us, right? Like, so there's a long way to go. Like, robotics is coming in a big way, self-drive cars, there's so much technology that we're going to build. So I feel engineers will always be around, and we'll always be building, and we'll just build 10x more. Like, I don't think we all can go chill now on a beach that, hey, this guy's going to software is going to be built by AI. I think we all still will have our jobs and have to build a lot of stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was thinking maybe I should plot a graph of, the times where the PM job is dead, those tweets, the numbers of those that you see, and the number of open AI jobs on the
Yeah.
product front that are opening up, right? If a foundational, and I feel like foundational model companies are actually becoming more product companies now, right? With each
Yeah.
of them now building layers of software on top. So I think, yeah, definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
And also reminds me of that 10x engineer meme that used to be there earlier. Now I think with AI, a
Yeah.
lot of that is definitely possible.
Yeah.
So
And I can talk a bit about my vibe coding journey. Like, I'm having a ball. I'm really enjoying it. Like, because the thing is, for someone like me who's looking at EPD, like, I have a lot of ops work, so I just don't get enough time. For me, it's just a massive unlock, right? Like, I've been building something on the side, and it's never been easier. Like, I've always been wanting to build something on the side, but I just couldn't get the time enough. And you have to understand syntax and so on and so forth. But now it's just mind blowing, right? If you understand the basics, the fundamentals, you can move so quickly. So I'm having a, like, it's just deep flow state. Like, it's as much fun for me as gaming or something. I'm like, my wife is like, what's happened to you? Like, I can just go into that wormhole for like 6-10 hours of vibe coding and just like completely build an app end to end. So it's just been incredible. I feel for people, at least from my era, who coming from the old world where there was no tab complete, there was nothing. This technology is just mind blowing, because as long as you know what you want and you can guide it enough, you question it at every step, make sure it's doing the right things. It's just a massive unlock and a time saving, right? Like, so I'm actually having a lot of fun with vibe coding, and it just made me a lot more effective in some sense.
interesting. We'll probably see a little bit of that in action as much as time allows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually working on an app that I will launch in a bit.
Oh, lovely.
It's kind of ready, but just figuring out the GTM. That's what I'm saying, right? GTM now is more harder to
Important.
do. Distribution, those things become harder because anyone can build now, right? So those things become harder,
True.
and that's where people like you, Suhas, come in, right? Like the growth folks. But
That's
anyway, a little bit on CodeRabbit, right? So we're doing AI code reviews. Essentially, again, like I said, the new bottleneck, one is on the PM side and one is on the code review side, right? Like, nobody likes doing code reviews. I've been doing code reviews like for so many years when I was an engineering leader. Nobody likes to do it. It's the most unsexy part of the job, that you have to look at other people's shit code and tell them that, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong. And it still doesn't work, right? There's still bugs going to production. I mean, it's still not foolproof. So that's really what CodeRabbit does. AI code reviews. That's how we got in. Massive traction. And what we're seeing is the new bottleneck is, like, for example, now if coding is going to be generative, everyone using a code gen tool. There's just a lot more code being generated, right? There's 3x, 5x the code people are generating in the same amount of time. And now code review is becoming a bottleneck, right? Like, you can't review this AI slop, right? There's just a lot of verbose code that it generates that you now need AI to review AI, right? And that's really what CodeRab is trying to do. So we have people using code gen tools that generating a lot of code, and now people are starting to realize that if CodeRabbit can catch, like, say, 6 or 7 of those issues, it just makes life easier for everyone. It's instant. Nobody has to waste time doing these things. It's repetitive. It's boring. So it's best done by a machine, where engineers can focus on dreaming about building great products. With that, Swash, should we get into a demo or do we do questions?
Yeah, I think let's finish the demo, then we can come back
Okay.
for like a quick AMA.
Okay. Cool. Let me just share my stop presenting and share my screen, and I can give you guys a demo on the CodeRabbit product. Just give me 1 second.
Rohit, what tool are you thinking of working on? Is it like, do you want to use the AI reviews on like some fun product or?
We could take a little longer, but this is my repo that I've been working on.
Okay.
This is my app. It's actually a parenting app I'm building. I
Okay.
just became a parent, by the way, 2.5 months back.
Congratulations.
So building something for new parents. So this is my workflow. Actually, more is in Claude, but for this session, I will show it to you in Cursor. And as being part of this industry, I it's part of my job to try all these tools. So I keep playing around and poking around with everything new that comes out. But my workflow is Claude and CodeRabbit. I do use Cursor once in a while as well. Sometimes when Claude gets stuck, I give the same prompt to Cursor and see if it can do a better job. But what we're trying to do with CodeRabbit is shift left, go to the developer. We of course work in GitLab, GitHub, and all of these providers, but we're trying to shift left and go into the developer workflow, right? And but this is something our team built in Bangalore, which I'm extremely proud of. This whole product was built. So this is the CodeRabbit extension you're seeing. I'm inside Cursor. So we built a VS Code extension that works with all the forks. So that really is the product I'll demonstrate at this point. So you can see my account, Rohit Khanna, CodeRabbit AI. You can choose the branch that you're merging with. And basically, when you make changes, those files show up here. And
Yeah.
then you can basically run a code review, right? Uh, and once the review is complete, you'll actually, so this is when it's starting the review. And basically, you'll get review comments. We'll wait for the review to complete. I just actually vibe coded something. I said, add me Google login support. So that is something I did not have in my app.
Okay.
So it went and wrote a bunch of code. So here you can see it's added the Google services package, added a sign in, some front end changes to add the sign in button. And I've actually started a code review, right? So
Rohit, one quick question here. As you prompt to Cursor or Windsor for Claude to build you something, do you need to prompt to CodeRabbit to help you review better, or CodeRabbit takes it by itself?
yeah. No, so it does it by itself. We've actually absorbed all the complexity. You don't have to select models, nothing. So we run a sophisticated process at the back around context engineering.
Hmm.
So we not only, I mean, see, it's not as trivial as yeah, just send this code diff to the LLM and you get a review, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we've done, a lot of IP we've built around the context engineering part. We actually have code graph, code index, just the way we process it, we summarize it, and we basically use the best model based on the task at hand. So for example, we have multiple tasks in this review process that we perform.
Okay.
For example, summarization, the actual reviews. For that, we'll use like a high level reasoning model. We actually do suggestions, so we do some amount of code gens. For that, we use a different model. And we are always pushing the boundary on which model is the best for which use case. And we actually have that kind of test cases and a test bed. And we're continuously, when a new model comes out, we are evaluating that, hey, is this model better on our test cases? And then we basically but abstracted away all of that complexity from the customer. You can't choose a model. There's none of that in CodeRabbit.
Got it. Got it. So just install the extension and it just starts to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Install the extension, good to go. And then at the back, we also run linters. We run security checks. So there's a bunch of things we do at the back, like I said, to make. So that's what I'm saying, right? So we want to go deeper in the workflow here. So we
Got it.
want to sit more shift left with this user, help him. Like we also help fix with AI. So we hand off to AI as well. So the review actually takes time because it takes 3 to 4 minutes. So we actually run, because like I said, we run a lot of things at the back to actually make sure it's a comprehensive review.
Makes sense.
So, yeah.
Rohit, is there also maybe a screen which shows us what's going on so that we can also follow through? Is that something
Yeah.
that is built? Okay? Is
So
that
on
okay?
the left here, you can see in the plugin it's showing
Yeah.
that it's actually reviewing the files. And once the
Yeah.
review's done, the comments will start flowing. But at this
Okay.
point, the review is still in progress.
Got it. Got it. Okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
One more question, which I get a lot whenever I share my favorite agentic coding tools, is how is using Claude Sonnet in Cursor versus in Windsurf versus in Claude Code different in each of these, right? Because at the end, it's just using the same model. So,
Yeah.
what is the difference that keeps coming up? And I get this question a lot. I would love it if you can
Yeah.
you share your thoughts on this.
Yeah. So it's actually a huge difference, right? Like Cursor has actually written its own some amount of models and how it processes when you give it a prompt. It completely works very differently than how Claude Code works. Claude Code is more tool calling. So you'll actually see it reads the file ls. You can actually see how it's navigating your code base and so on and so forth. Cursor
Wow.
has indexed your code that works off more of the index. So again, the way you, so given a prompt and a model, there's still a lot that happens in the middle around context engineering, around tool calling. How do you call these tools? Is it structured or not? All those things also make a huge difference on how good this the code gen is. And that's why Claude, if you ask me at this point, Claude and Cursor are probably the best. I personally like Claude a lot more. uh, so yeah, there is a lot of sophisticated technology that these companies have built. There, it isn't just the model. There is a lot around it, on the core technology here, that makes them different, that makes the results different. Just the way they process the prompt, they break down the prompt. Like Claude creates that to-do list, then it does tool calling, the way it does tool calling. So Claude is the same company that has the model, right? So they know the best maybe how to tool call, and the interface with the model, right? They probably have some IP there, and that's why it works a little better. I could also show you some of the previous review I had done, like here. So once the review is complete, you'll actually see comments here. So for example, here it's saying in this file, there is a potential issue that needs attention. So you can click on it. It'll kind of show you what the issue is. So it's saying avoid nested material app instances. You're wrapping the welcome page inside material app, which creates a nested material app structure. This leads to theme and context issues. And then we basically hand off to AI as well, right? So one is you can either say you want to ignore the suggestion, but you can say you want to fix with AI. So we work with all of the AI Gen AI tools. You can fix with AI. So actually, this will give it to Cursor, and Cursor can fix the issue with you, right? So you can say fix with AI. So now we've created this prompt that you can just put into Cursor, and it'll fix the issue for you.
Oh wow.
That's very interesting. Don't you think this makes a PM workflow also very powerful? Because you can prompt your way to generating some amount of code, and then the biggest bottleneck used to be, okay, hey, debugging this used to probably take a lot longer. But now with, say, CodeRabbit coming in, it's again one click with
Yeah.
just this workflow that I can think of. I have played around very little with this, but just to think of it, maybe with Bolt or Windsurf on one side,
Yes.
and then CodeRabbit on the same page. Now I
Correct.
think like a PM workflow also can become a lot more powerful than just the vibe coding MVPs that we
Yeah.
end up seeing. Do you
Yeah. No,
envision a
absolutely.
world like that?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Right. So we're looking at those partnerships. I think it makes a lot more sense for us to also like see. We have taken again a strategy that we want to go where the customer is. So
Yeah,
that's why we're inside VS Code. We'll go to other IDs. We might have a CLI later. We will go to a Bolt and just make it very easy for you to just review the code. And the
nice.
other thing is the guy who's generating the code can't review the code, right? Because then they would already caught the issue, right?
Okay,
There's a lot
exactly.
of things we are doing to make this workflow better, like multi-repository review. There's a lot of things we're building. Like for example, this whole interface, right? Like this is what people are, happy about. Like it's about building this experience. It's not just that hey, the model caught the issues. It's about how you build this experience. Is it intuitive and so on and so forth, right? And deeply understanding their workflow and helping them solve it. Like for example, this right, 1 out of 8 issues solved.
Yeah,
And there's also a fix all, so you can just press that and all the issues get fixed, right? So it's those kind of features that people are sticking on for.
very interesting.
So
And
this has actually gone and fixed this issue, by the way. It has gone and generated the code, and I
yeah,
can just apply.
nice. And in just terms of accuracy and like, for example, once you run this code review, what percentage of errors is it able to
Yeah,
pick up and fix versus how many are left? Do you think maybe reruns, or how much does it miss out on today,
yeah,
which you think gets
yeah.
better in times to come?
By the way, that review came back as well of the Google thing. So now it's telling me, right, like considering client side validation for tokens. So there's a security issue.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I think, some like code review can play a huge role, right? Because security, all these things also become extremely important. Sorry, what is the question again?
In that sense, how much is
How many issues does it catch? Yeah, yeah,
CodeRabbit able to pick up today
yeah,
versus
yeah. Got it. Yeah, so it's not deterministic, right? So we're also not able to deterministically say that but we know we have evals benchmarks, and we know with each coming model is getting better, and it's able to catch more issues, but it's hard to quantify. Okay, exactly. I mean, we have some sense of these are all the bugs that you could have potentially, and it's able to catch X amount of issues. but
Yeah.
there is no benchmark as such on this. And that's actually something we're thinking of, that, hey, how do we come with a benchmark around all of this and show that, this is the kind of issues it's catching, these are the kind of issues not catching at this point, and as this technology evolves, it'll get better.
Yeah.
But the customer and the feedback we get from there is what gives me a lot of confidence that it's catching most issues, right? Because I've had pretty much all customers tell me that, hey, it caught this really big issue that would have prevented a massive outage.
Oh wow.
I've
So
had
qualitatively, a lot more efficiency gain, right? Like each one would have otherwise have to be done, say manually, or someone sitting and spending time on it. And at least now it gives you one level catch-all, post which you can obviously review it manually again. But at least your easier or smaller bugs get.
Yeah, and it actually does a lot, right? It does web search. So, for example, there's a library you're using. It'll go read up that documentation and tell you that, hey, you missed this, and so on and so forth.
Nice.
Uh, so it's actually very, very interesting. And as we add more features, like a multi-repo review, right? So imagine you have a front end and a back end. It can
Yeah.
actually figure out that if you make a change here, you're going to break that contract in that other API in that other project, right? So those are the kind of use cases that we're getting into where we feel we can really differentiate.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it on the demo. Yeah, see, this is the fix all. So it'll actually just go and generate a prompt and fix all the issues. So it's become really easy, right? Like, look at this. So I'm saying fix all these issues for me. I say, okay, it'll generate the prompt, and boom, done.
Very interesting.
Yeah. If you'd like, we can, I guess, take questions.
Yes, we have a couple. I know probably running out of time, but sort of maybe we'll go one by one and just pick up the one that you find most interesting on the Q&A tab. I'll start with the one that's most upvoted right now. Um, how does CodeRabbit deal with competition, and how do you see it,
Yeah.
especially in the enterprise space? Where do
Right.
you guys at, and what do you just maybe like a landscape of
Yeah.
code review tools in the market today?
Yeah. Yeah. No, see, I'll tell you one thing about competition, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing. When you have some competition, it means you're building something that's valuable. It validates that there is a market, right? So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But now you want to win the competition, right? And fortunately for us, CodeRabbit is the number one code review product. They started early, they had a head start. There's certain amount of GTM that's worked for us, open source. We went there, like it's been used in the largest, open source projects, and from there it becomes a lot easier to sell. And we've just had a massive PLG motion, uh, very active Discord community. People just love the product, and like I said, the experience, right? Like, so we give a poem when you do a code review, and those are the small touches that people really appreciate. And the product actually works, right? So it actually finds the bugs and issues. And now, how to differentiate from competition, I think, is just innovation, right? We are the most ahead with all these features, and we keep continuing to innovate, and keep pushing the boundary. uh, and it's robust. So one is the other products, what we've heard from customers, it's not catching issues. So one is, we've built a lot of IP on the actual core code review that I can't get into right now how it actually works. But
Sure.
that 4 minutes, we're doing a lot of stuff at the back that is really sophisticated, and that's why you get a very high level code review that people are appreciating. So one is the competitors are not able to get that going. And number two, why I think we'll win in the long term is, like I said, the experience, and we're going where the customer is. So now this VS Code and just building great experiences and keep innovating. Like, we have customers that are copying. So like you've seen that, Suhas, right? Like,
Yeah.
there are leader products and then there are follow products. So right now this is a leader product, and we want to maintain that lead and continue. So that's why it doesn't worry me. Like, but to be honest with you, when I joined this company in November, my biggest fear was, hey, what if GitHub launches a code review product, right? Will we be out of business? Will everyone just go and use GitHub? But guess what? We're still growing as fast. GitHub launched a code review product. It came, it went. It's okay. Maybe it'll have its own market share, but the market is so huge right now that we barely see any competition. And even if we do, the best product wins. And thankfully, it's us at this point, and we want to maintain that.
Yeah, just maintaining the momentum, right? Yeah, that's good.
We have one question around Rohit, where do you see these AI agentic tools heading? 3-4 years down the line. And in fact, you answered one of the questions which I was about to ask as to where do you see CodeRabbit go a couple of years
Right.
down the line versus Windsurf and Cursor might
Yeah.
start building their own code review engines, and
Correct,
yeah,
correct, correct. Yeah, I think a lot of them are building code review tools, but like I said, I am not. I'm okay at this point because we've had other large mega corps also launch code review products, but it's not disrupted our momentum.
got
Because I think if we, so the thing is again, right? Like for example, Claude, it does so every tool does something really well. They do something exceptional, and they will be the best at that, and they get known for that, right? That's also how positioning, packaging works. So similarly, when you think of code reviews, CodeRabbit is going to be the winner, but we have to keep, of course, keep innovating, keep pushing that boundary, and which we will continue to do so, right? So there, the other tools are not going to go deep, so deep into code review as we are going, right? So that's why we believe we can continue our momentum and lead, because they have to also focus on code generation. There's a different battle they're fighting on the code generation playground that we are not fighting.
yes.
Uh, Now, having said that, there are certain interesting areas we are going to be getting into in the next 6 months, 1 year. I cannot share at this point, obviously, but yeah, but we're looking to more to get into some new white spaces. And because see, it's a new world, right? With AI, everything is up for imagination. So why go and fight a muddy battle with 20 code gen tools where everyone has the same model and that IP is coming down, is becoming commodity, open source, whatnot, whatnot. So we're thinking of what are the other areas that we can go and innovate, whether other white spaces and more customer driven as well. What do our customers want from us, right? Everyone's happy with there's enough code gen tools at
Yeah.
this point. It's becoming commodity. Margins are hard. So yeah, it's more strategic for us, and we'll figure some of those directions out in some time.
Any AI agentic dev tools that you would have thought would have already been mainstream till now, but isn't anything on those lines?
Not at this point, but I will say one thing, right? And just advice to everyone is to try new tools. That's something I've always done, even pre AI. Like I've always been trying different things, trying different technologies, being a first mover. Like I tried Arc browser a long time back. Like I was
Mhm.
one of the first people to try, and I love it. And so that's one thing I'd encourage people to do. For example, I found magic patterns for prototyping 6, 8 months back, which I use a
Oh,
lot.
Wow.
uh, Swas told me about Gamma. Like I tried it yesterday. I love it. This deck was made in Gamma. Like I
yeah.
am full on AI trying tools. So that's one thing I would encourage to everyone is be curious. Technology is changing. Keep trying things and you will find some ideas and spaces. And generally speaking, also just up level your productivity by 10x, 100x, right? So just yeah, just try things. Don't be stuck in the old ways. I think the people who are not, it's a platform shift, right? It's like what happened in the 2000s mobile on all of that internet. If you're not going to change, you'll be left behind. So that's one thing I would tell everyone is just try new things, try new tools. It's okay, pay that $10, $20, it will be worth it. You'll learn a lot and just up your productivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rohit, what I feel is very interesting about the world we are in right now is there are a lot of people who've started up in the last 12
Yeah.
to 18 months, right? So they're not mainstream yet, but some of them are in stealth, and especially you hear about it more in the valley. Like, and I see
Yes.
this difference because I'll tell you, I've been using one tool right now, which is it's probably still in beta, still very early. They've raised quite a little bit money, so maybe a lot of work happening behind the scene. But it's basically you can set up web crawlers just with a single prompt, and they are actually so good, right? Like so, every day in the morning I get a summary email, and this is something I've always thought. It's been on my idea that okay, I'll wipe code this at some point, which is I get an email summary of what are the top five say product news every day,
Mm.
and I have like 15 or 20 set up like this, right? What are the top three HN products yesterday? Just send me a summary of those on email, right? Simple product, but they have just made these so easy. And I'm telling you the simple ones. Now there are more complex ones which and it shows you at the bottom also that hey, this used 10 different agents and saved you 28 minutes, right? It's essentially
Mm.
that you can automate. I'm giving you one example,
Yeah.
right? And this will become mainstream 12 months from now when it goes
Yes.
opens up. They've raised a lot of money, so they're going to do GTM. But
Mhm.
I think that's the superpower of sitting in the weeds. I think as a PM, um this I didn't see at least for the last 5 6 years, right? You could see some of these products, but I think in the last 1.5 years this has just accelerated. I don't know because I mean whether this is AI or not, I'm not sure, but so many interesting
Mm.
niche products today. So I think also for people joining in is spend that 1 hour exactly extrapolating from what you said, like just trying to mm, hit that nail a little bit more on the head, that okay, just play around with these tools,
Yeah,
because sometimes that just opens up ideas, because all of them are so early. So just
correct.
experiment as much as possible.
Yeah,
You never know where your next idea will be, an amalgamation of three four of these, or you will play with something and you'll realize, okay, this is powerful and
yeah.
enjoy it, right?
Yeah,
So
and so much time saving, right? Like magic. So, for example, when I joined CodeRabbit, we did not have a designer,
oh, interesting.
right? But we still had to build this VS Code extension, by the way.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
designed in Magic Pattern, some of it,
Oh,
most
wow.
of it, right? I have designed it myself, prompting it. I have designed this product. Now,
Nice.
this was not possible pre AI. I would need a designer. I would need a
Yeah,
full time designer. But I'm able to prototype so quickly. Like I remember even this other. So we have a metrics dashboard where we show you ROI. I
yeah.
was able to prototype in an afternoon in 2 hours. It would have taken me, I think, a month of back and forth with the designer, trying to explain to him what I want, how I want it. It's just a massive unlock in productivity, right? So I highly encourage people, to use AI, try all these tools out. Yeah, like I'm saying, we managed without a designer for we got a designer like 2 months back.
Wow.
We still
Wow.
had to design product, right? We still have to delight our customers and give user experience.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
I think, that brings me to my maybe last question for tonight, and then Saurabh, you can also definitely ask one. But it's probably the most important, right? Rohit, what is the skill set of
Hmm.
2026 that PMs and engineers should be picking up? Hard one to answer, but according to you.
Yeah.
And second part of that is, what are some interesting job opportunities that are coming up, right? Like I think I saw with scale, etc., annotations, becoming a sector which didn't exist 5 years back. Example, right? Of course, there
Yeah.
are much better ones. So, just a little bit on skills and jobs from your
Yeah.
perspective.
I think the fundamentals don't change, right? For the core of it, if you're trying to make a career out of this stuff, sure, you can vibe code an app, make revenue as well, be a millionaire, retire on a beach, right? But if you want to make a career out of this, software engineering, you want to build products for scale, for the world, I think the fundamentals still remain. You still need to understand the fundamentals of computer science or product management, which is what is the market size, who are you going after, who is your customer, what is your MVP, what is the feature you're building, why are you building it. And like I said, the focus moves a bit from, but I think, like I said, right now you have engineers that can build anything, but still the question is what to build, right? Like,
Yeah.
what should I build? What should he build next? There are 10 things,
Correct.
right? So that strategy, somebody being strategic enough in that org and PMs, I think need to play that role to figure out what is the direction of the company, where do you want to head next, what are the feature set, how do we build this, and like I said, taste and product experience that you cannot buy right? Like that is something, it's inherent. People need to build that craft. So I feel, yeah, the core craft, no matter what field you're in, design, product, engineering, that core craft is what people need to focus on, and AI needs to augment that. Like you need to become 10x 100x because of AI, but if you yourself don't have the fundamentals, you're not going from zero, right? You're still there. Then it's just AI and anyone can replace you. But I think the so what AI has done, it's made talent divergent, right? Like someone who's exceptional with AI now can do 100x, right? But someone who's average can still is still right there or does what AI can do, right? Like they're still there. But now the gap between someone extraordinary with AI and somebody average with AI is huge,
Hmm.
right? Like you can do something in minutes, hours that you couldn't do over weeks and months. So I feel just focusing on the fundamentals is where I would urge people to be. While I know this Twitter stream and everything around us and the noise is all just so drowning right now, and it feels like you almost feel almost helpless as well. Like I was feeling that a bit. Like there's so many tools coming out. Like see, now I'm a product guy here, engineering leader here. I have to try every new Gen AI dev tool that's coming out. It's just crazy for me to keep up to this stuff, right? But yeah, so there's a lot of noise. You can get a little demotivated or carried away with all this fud around. Hey, there's jobs don't exist, just wipe code everything. But I feel people should focus on the fundamentals. Those things remain. Those things will remain. And coming to your second part of the question, which is what kind of jobs? Yeah, I think evals is a big one, right? Like data annotation, labeling, all those things. That's going to be a big field. I think fundamentally all jobs in some way will mutate and change as well, right? Like it's like for example, the people exactly who are not able to adopt to this technology, that are not open to these things, will get left behind, I feel like. So if you're an engineer that's like, yeah, I don't like this AI, it's not, it creates some code I don't like, so I'm going to write everything from scratch, like that purest thing, yeah, I don't think that's gonna stick around for too long. These kind of people get left behind, because the technology, you have to learn to how to adopt to this technology and use it to your benefit. You can't be ignorant to this technology anymore. Like that's
Yeah.
one thing I'd say. You can't be like, hey, yeah, sometimes it generates bad codes, I'll not use it. That's not the answer. Figure how you can guardrail it, guide it, work with it. It is the future. It is gonna make you 50%, 100% more effective. But yeah, I think the people who are like, yeah, this thing doesn't work, it's stupid, that I don't think those kind of people are, going to make it in 2026, 2027. Other people are just going to beat them hands down.
Yeah. Yeah.
God. Rohit, I think I'll take one question on the similar lines. We have a lot of folks who are early in the career who are joining us today. And I'll touch upon you mentioning building taste, right? If you were someone in our shoes who is probably still early in the career, building their tastes in the product world, how would you be using AI? How would you be augmenting AI to, exponentially get you further
Yeah,
along? Uh,
yeah. I think just using it, right? Like for example, if you are a PM, you're using these prototyping tools, it is gonna up level, it's gonna teach you new ways. Like so for example, I used Gamma yesterday, right? Like I love the experience. Like I'm blown away and I am inspired and I want to shit, like this is insane how they did all of this. And I'm also inspired and I'm learning. So when you're interacting with this thing, you're getting ideas. So next time now when I'm building something, like, yeah, I like the way they did this and they were able to pull this off. I think we can do it as well, and so on and so forth, right? So the more time you spend with it, you're going to get more ideas. You're going to figure how you'll understand the AI better. You'll understand how it works, where it doesn't work, where it fumbles. You'll understand better how to prompt it. You'll understand better on how these experiences, people are building these experiences. I would say, yeah, just get your hands dirty, right? Like just get in, like use AI for everything. My default workflows to do anything first is to ask AI. Like I just feel it's a lot more effective, faster to just have AI do the, the repetitive menial tasks. We do the thinking. You think of the strategy, what do you want? Now there should be an AI to do something, right? You, if you're doing everything again by scratch yourself, I think that's how you need to kind of question yourself, that hey, is there an AI product that can help me do this a lot better, a lot faster?
Yeah.
God.
And sorry, and the other thing I would say is just try new things, right? Try new products. Be a little more curious. Like, how did this work? How did they do it? I like that interaction. Like, go a little deeper there, right? Like, I don't know if how many people actually notice. Actually, that's something I look for when I interview. I ask people like, "What's your favorite product?" Especially for PMs. Like, what's your favorite? What do you like about it? What do you not like? Right? So you basically want to be just a little more conscious on how you are using these products, how these products work, what makes good experience, what did you like, right?
Yeah.
So that's your taste, right? And how did you develop that? So those are the things I do look for. And for example, my personal experience, I find bugs all the time in all these apps. Yesterday I found a bug in Slack and I was showing someone. So like you just have to be observant. You'll find these things. Like I don't get the time, but I want to run a blog where I find bugs in all these
Yeah.
amazing apps out there, because I notice these things. I somehow just catch them.
And Rohit, probably the cue lies there, right? You're probably way too busy today, but a 25-year-old can do exactly what you're doing. And of course, maybe you'll have the nuances and,
Yes.
your eyes probably seen a lot of these patterns. Maybe they don't catch all of it,
Yes.
but even if they can and document this over the
Yes.
next 3 years, just imagine how powerful that
Correct.
could
Correct.
be
For
for that.
example, now you're a PM, you need to work on onboarding. Go try 10 onboarding experiences, right? That'll give you a lot of ideas.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's probably one of the best ways to build productions, right? People keep asking this over and over again, and you hear, generic replies like, yeah, first principle thinking. Tactfully, it's exactly this, right? Every single day, if you can download 3 consumer apps for just a month, right?
Right.
You've tried 90 or 100 different apps over a month. And if you can just document those 5 to 8 to 10
Correct.
to 12 screens every single day, at the end of, 90 screens, you have a fair sense. Tomorrow,
Correct.
if you're going out and building an app, you have it 8 into like 90 or 700 screens in front of you to pattern match, right? So it's
But the
tactful things
other,
like this.
yeah, no, I understand. I agree with that, but I feel also sometimes we want, so, but one thing I've seen people do is just but only pattern match. Matlab, I saw this, we should do this because it does that. I want
Yeah.
people to bring
uh,
their original insight. Will
yeah.
it work for our customers? Talk to, does it work in our environment for our product? Right? I've seen people justify that we should do this because X does that. That I feel is wrong. But if it makes
Yeah.
sense for us, yes, we should do it. And the other thing I would say is people should talk to customers, talk to people. So if you're in consumer, go
Yeah.
hang out with those people who is your ICP, right?
Agreed.
And even in enterprise, go meet your customers. They'll tell you things, right? Like that's one thing I feel people are not doing enough. Like PMs are busy just with the busy work, yeah, project management, all of this, like, giving the specs, following up with engineering, is this done, giving updates, updating documentation, doing all of this stuff. But I think it's very, very important to take time out, go meet your customers. They will tell you things. That's your roadmap. That's where, again, you don't have to build everything they say, but
Yeah.
hear them out. You don't have to do what they're saying, but you have to have that input channel flowing. I've seen a lot of people, just build in silos, just building what they think and completely disconnected from the reality and the customer. And that's when again you get products that don't work.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Nothing beats that. So, of course, these are two truths that, and the tactful thing that I was just trying to share is, taste has again become a buzzword in the valley, right? Well, I'm
Yes.
just trying to take one step forward on, okay, here practically, how do you move away from a blank slate, right? And of
Mhm.
course, nothing replaces customer conversation, regardless of anything else you do.
Yes.
That doesn't change for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
if you
think,
want to go from a blank slate
yeah,
to at least one step, then it starts bringing some ideas to you, right?
agreed.
But of course, don't take the screen and go back to your engineer saying, okay, yeah, we should.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I agree with you again,
And you
100%.
had written a blog on taste, I remember, and I think you were right also that it's also about your experiences,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
like for example, you use, let's say, AirPods,
yeah,
right? How was that unpackaging experience? You loved it, right? There was something mind blowing about it, or you're using some mind blowing expensive product, right? I think that also helps develop taste because you are using these products. So over time, your bar for expectation goes high.
yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
I use this, it works at like this. So why
Yeah,
am I doing this garbage thing, right? Why can't I also give my customers this experience? So I feel people should chase those experiences within, of course, whatever you can afford, limit, whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, basically, I think taste also comes from your surround. Like you said, it comes around your surroundings, your
yeah,
nurture, your environment.
yeah,
So I would encourage people then who then are serious about this to also upgrade their environment. So now use the best product so that you
yeah,
get inspired to build something that's the best. If you always keep using substandard products, justifying, yeah, it's too expensive, then should someone pay for your product? You want people to pay,
exactly.
right? So then you pay for that product. Like Gamma, I'm like, yeah, let's pay $10. It's fine. Like I like it. Versus being like, yeah, you know what, I can just do it. I'll somehow hack it. So I think that's also a mindset change that your craft is coming and your taste is coming from your personal experiences. So make sure you're upgrading that as well so that you overall your outlook gets better.
Yeah. And again, a tactful thing, and we've been through the tough, right? Childhood, I remember everything was, all my music was from songs.pk, right? So we've all been through
Yeah.
that. But what you mentioned is so important. And one way I have found to get out of that is carve out X dollars a year just for
Hmm.
this, right? Don't think about it. It is your investment. Don't think about it anything, right? A tool that you really like. Um,
Yeah.
it is your education. Whatever budget you
Correct.
can
Correct.
bucket it
You're
under,
absolutely
just do
right.
it. And 5 years later,
Yeah.
you'll see that impact. So I completely agree. It's
Yeah.
a
Because
mindset shift.
yeah. Because if you use best in class of products is when you will build best in class, right? Otherwise,
Exactly.
you will also, if you're just somehow hacking through things, then you will also hack through that and you will build a hacky product.
Yeah.
You
And
don't pay
sometimes,
for
okay, if
products,
you
don't
are
expect
building,
people to pay.
yeah, yeah,
That's one thing.
yeah. And those constraints help, right? Sometimes you might just come up with something very, very different in that
Yes.
particular domain. So yeah, depends on what you're aiming for, like you said,
Yeah.
right? Suppose you want to build something there, that constraint is going to help you. But many times to elevate, buzzwords, right? They're trying to break down, okay, taste, right? If you want to elevate that, you need exposure to some of these tools
Yes.
and try getting as much as early as possible in your
And
career.
observant, right? Like for example, you went to a restaurant, you had a great experience.
Yeah.
What was great? What did they do? What was fantastic about that?
Hmm.
Right? Or even support. Like, you did a call to an airline, they gave you a great experience. What was special? What is the thing, right? If you can articulate that, focus on that, those are the things that then you understand. what have they done behind the scenes, how did they set up this process, imagine the what thought process they went to.
Yeah,
And that's how you develop that is that, yeah, now if I want to do this, I have to do these other things so that the experience is world class, right? So
yeah,
you have to go that extra mile and experience these products and be observant.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because I know we've shot way over time, and I know it's peak, you know, PST work hours kicking off just as we speak. So with that, I think Rohit, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I had an absolute baller time while learning from your journey and then seeing CodeRabbit in action. We'll definitely keep you posted in more questions that are coming through, and also the recording of this will be live on YouTube right after this session for the next, for the time that the Buildathon's going on. So I'm sure you'll come. Lots of questions coming your way. But just one last question, Rohit. If people want to reach out to you, stay in
Yeah.
touch, what would be the best way?
Yeah, LinkedIn, Twitter are probably the best ways to stay in touch.
Perfect. We'll drop that in the chat section for everyone. We'll probably continue, Saurabh, either you or me, on this session. And Rohit will join you backstage very quickly. Just want to share a couple of more
Yeah.
things with our
Thank you so much, folks.
stuff.
Really enjoyed being here. Thank you.
Thanks, Rohit.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
I think just
And that was Rohit. Cool. So, do you want to take the winners that we have for the note taking sessions that we have been running?
absolutely. I think on Slack, lots of folks have been reaching out, saying, they probably want access to some of these pro tools. Just give me a second, probably help Rohit go backstage. Maybe Sarab, you have access, or Samay, in
Yes.
case you're around, you probably will have to help Rohit come backstage.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, perfect. Yes, lots of folks on Slack keep asking us that they. So right now, I think all of y'all have received access to um, tools like 11 Labs and Windsurf. We've also gotten a very exclusive discount to Rocket for all of you. Manik, my answer is exactly to your question. To each and every one who are asking for lovable codes, yes, we figured out a way to get this to you. And this is through the social challenge winners, right? So, Mogul, Priyansh, Farhan, if you guys are in here listening into this, congratulations for session one. All of y'all get access to the pro coupon of Lovable that we will share with you. So please DM any of us, or actually you can DM Saurabh. He will share the code with you. As soon as we're done with a couple of these, we're going to just message. We have winners of session two on screen. Congratulations, Nadeem, Mansi, Ryan. In case you all are tuned in, feel free to reach out to us and continue these going. We have more such coupons coming for you guys. Um, Abhishek CodeRabbit Pro is probably something we're going to request Rohit for, if he can extend it to some of the winners of our next challenge, right? So if you'll have any interesting insights from today's session, feel free to share that on social, and we'll go back to Rohit and try getting some of the winners, the top three winners at least we'll request for a CodeRabbit Pro. Not a promise, but we'll definitely go back and request. Awesome.
Yes.
And for session number three, congratulations, Gurpreet, Nana, and Joshua. Um, Please DM us and continue these social challenges going. We will get more and more such tools for all of you all to access. Unfortunately, we don't have codes for this for every single one of you all to try, but this is one way we can enable some of you all at least to try the pro version of some of these tools.
That
Awesome.
is it, sir.
With that,
Yep.
yes, with that, we come to the end of today's session, folks. If you have more questions, feel free to drop it on chat, Sarab, and we can help you out. If not, we are always on the Slack. Sarab, do you want to quickly share with them what this social challenge is? It's very simple, folks. Just share your learnings from today's session on socials, tag us, and the top three or the best notes that we see out there. We'll try getting some credits for tools for the winners for these social challenges.
Absolutely.
And on the building side, I think, folks, it's about time. We only have a week to go for all of you all to start submitting. We've already seen some of you all submit, so great ideas that are coming through. But for everyone else, time to now start wrapping up. Use the weekend that's coming up and try shipping something. Use all the insights that Madhu had shared. Some of you all might have attended a session. He shared a framework, And on Slack, I've also shared a framework in case you're still debating what idea to go through. I've shared a framework on how you can come up with an idea and ship it under a week. So go to Slack, check some of these insights. If not, I think Madhu's covered this a lot of times, right? He in fact broke it down to, hey, just block out 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. on a single day, and you can do a lot of things with some of these vibe coding tools. But with that, we come to the end of today's session. Sort of in case I missed something, feel free to add in. But we'll definitely see you all very, very soon.
Yep, absolutely. I'm very eager to see what folks are building. Some of them are already sharing it on Slack. Happy to sort of be part of the discussions. If you need any help, we are always around. And yeah, would love to see what you guys come up with. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Awesome.